Hello, everybody. You're in the Gimbalabs Open Spaces. Today is March 5th. It's Thursday. It's 14:30 UTC. Time for Open Spaces with the Gimbalabs Network. And we are a network, all doing this interesting networky thing like learning and coordination and decision making and doing work because we do have a special session a little bit today. We will be here for 90 minutes. We're about 15, 18 minutes in. But we get together to stay connected and to sort of hear each other's voices, sharing updates. We explore new things like the AI revolution. And we do a consent-based governance. So we sort of decide, the network decides like what we want to do and changes we want to make. Um, and why we get all together like this and make a special time is to make sure that we're still aligned with our purpose, the network's sort of stated purpose, and that is to provide an open, replicable, safe space for people everywhere to learn, to explore, and to empower one another to solve meaningful problems. And when software changes, when things change, it's sort of nice to have a network to kind of be like, am I the only one experiencing this weird time where it's just incredibly powerful stuff is going on? Turns out you're not. You're not alone. We're here with you, and and I'm glad, super glad that you are here. One of the things that James, one of the founders of Gimber Labs, said would often say is like, "I am super glad you're here." Actually, he didn't say super glad. I think that's one of my things, but we're glad. I'm glad that you're here. So thanks to everybody. Um, and Harsha, does that feel like we've introduced it enough?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Next thing on the agenda is announcements. I think was there an announcement posted in the chat? Is that something for the wide broadcast? And oh, Emmanuel, you wanna? Or I definitely wanted to let everyone know that Chris from Blink Labs will be doing a little presentation this afternoon on Cardano and Go, I think. Is that right? What's the name of his?
On Handshake and Cardano. So it's HandyCon.
Handshake.
Yep.
Yeah.
HandyCon is the event. And if anybody needs that link, we can share that.
Yeah. It's just, it's going to be in like 4 hours,
Yeah, coming up
four or
later
five
today.
hours. Yeah.
Yep.
That'll be great. Any other things like that? Aomi is going to have a space. Aomi's weekly space, or is today one of your spaces, Aomi? Conferencey stuff, projects that are rolling out. Any
Yeah,
announcements?
I think I had you calling me. Uh,
Yeah. Do you want to talk about this partnership? I mean, I don't want to
okay,
talk out of
yeah,
term.
yeah, the proposal we had initially with Project Catalyst. Now Catalyst is cancelled. We would want to progress. So instead of creating a very separate, different Cardano Treasury Explorer, Cerberus, they are building one already with IOG and Intersect. So talks have been ongoing with Cerberus guy. I think only one guy actually managing the Treasury Explorer, and we want to continue building on top of that. Improving their UI and enhancing the backend logic as well. So basically, um, proposal is also going on to IOG side in us acquiring the treasury, the repo, because the repo is not public, is not open source. So yeah, that's just it. So we're writing a proposal to IOG on our plan, basically technical. I already gave a proposal, but it was like it needs enhancement. So very, very technical. IOG, they are technical guys and they don't want the normal way. I was thinking a proposal should be written. So yeah, that's the phase right now. Yeah, thanks.
Oh yeah, that sounds awesome, man. That sounds really, really cool. Um, Congrats to the Blockprint folk. Um, nice. Any other thing? I will put that link, cardano in our notes. All right. Okay, so if you think about more announcements, any like et ceteras that you want to do, please let me know. I can put them in the notes and we can do we can keep that rolling. Okay. The next thing is agenda items. We've done a check-in round, just did our announcements. And now we enter that sort of special zone where we decide what we're going to do. We do have a typical thing where we might planning on breaking from it just a little bit today. Um, but the normal things are the call for proposals. Does anybody have a burning desire for like a proposal that you want to put forward and anything like that? We're also, after this sort of call for proposals, we go into previous consent process, and it doesn't seem like we've got anything on the consent process going in. Uh, is anybody in the middle of a consent process? So this one here. Okay. And then review of projects and proposals. Anybody that wants to review a project or proposal? Actually, I saw that Sebastian was working on his his uh Founders in the Wild, which is kind of fun if you look over at our GitHub. Um, we can also come back to that. But the thing that I want that I'm driving towards is this Notion migration. We've been talking about this lately. Oh, wait a minute. I missed this one. DREP report. Hey, do you guys want to do a DREP report? I think I missed it. Harsha.
I know, I was
Harsha's giving
going to
me.
let you know soon.
Oh yeah, this is part of our trying to get wider into the DREP sort of space. And I took on this one, this net change limit, which is the
Let's put
latest
a
one.
10-minute timer for this
Yeah,
because
yeah. Let's do 5 minutes. So I want to present for 5 minutes and then I want to discuss for 5 minutes. How does that sound for everybody? Yep. Okay. All right. So this this is the GitHub repo where I've sort of wrote the where we're keeping these proposal summaries. Proposals in this sense are the Cardano Treasury proposals that you can see here on our Gimbalabs voting page, which if you go here, you'll see this one. You know, let's go back. Also this the CGov .io, the mesh through their governance explorer is pretty cool. And this is the one that we're talking about. So let me pull back the Notion really quick. This is an info action. So it's actually not anything necessarily binding. It's a sentiment signal. It was submitted back in February. It's about to expire or it's about to finish the voting window next week. Basically, the T the TLDR is not on this one. I actually changed it on the other one. Let's go over to the net change limit. If you don't know what that's all about, it's basically how much the Treasury um, for the budget process, right? This is sort of a budget process and general tokenomics thing. Basically, the man, I wish I had my. Let's see if I can make this work. I so here's the proposal summary, and here's the net change limit. And unfortunately, there's not a preview view here in Gimbal in the GitHub.
Uh,
Um, you know, I it's just got the blame. Normally, it has a little preview up here, and I don't know why. It
I
doesn't.
think it is not. Is it formatted like it should have a preview? Why would it?
Does it not have the dot? It should say .md up here. Maybe
Yeah, I think
I
that's the issue. Just like put the .md and it should show the preview.
interesting. How do I even do that? That's so wild. Why doesn't it have .md? Okay, hold on. I can do it here. I can do it here. Watch this. This is my IDE back at home. And it isn't. You're right. Check that out. Um, oh man, this is cutting down my time.
So you have 1 minute
Uh,
left.
are you
Okay.
kidding me? Oh, that stinks. But we're just gonna do this on the fly. Okay, cool. Anyway, this one is the oh man. Okay, net change limit sets the maximum ADA that can be withdrawn from the Treasury in a given period. And it's typically aligned with the Treasury's annual inflows. And this is something that Cardano Foundation has a blog post about. It's true. It's always been sort of set at this plus or minus 15% of what comes in. And so here's why it gets sort of juicy. And if you go over to the um, uh, Discord for Intersect, and they have a budget committee. They're blocked with setting the new budget because of this net change limit has not been passed. And I don't know if they tried to pass it before and then it was, but that's what the whole hot drama is. So, what I want to do in this last little bit, because I'm hoping that you have some opinions on this, um, we can look at this tool and see some of the rationale. And some of them are really small. Like I looked at it's like Patrick Tobler here, who's the InMaker guy. Um, he says, I'm changing my vote because I realized the 35 million proposal didn't go through and we are delaying the budget process. So I think that's what it was, is that it was 350 and they changed it to 300. Um, you know, I also saw there was one from Latam and Juan Sierra, and he was just like, look, we need investment. So like we can't the opposite is also true, meaning we don't want to starve the budget. So those are the two sort of main things that I saw. We can also look at, for instance, let's look at this crazy life's rationale. A well-structured physical system should allow for responsible spending as needed to maximize opportunities. That is not what we have at this stage. What we have is a small ruling majority steering every single Lovelace with zero accountability for lack of production. Until resolved, all monetary flows should be controlled. This crazy life, D-Rep wrote that. So my question to you is, does this matter to you? Is it something that Gimbalabs is, should be focused on? How do you feel on the sort of uh, on some of these issues? All right. So we're ready for questions and whatnot. Yeah, Harsha, go ahead.
So this is the total budget that all proposals will receive, is it? Like, is it so say for example, Gimbal Labs wants to put a budget, put a proposal. So it'll be a part of this budget, right? So all the total spending for this year is this much. Is that what this is about?
I think that's what this is about. It's like this is how much you've got to sort of work with for the budget committee. And I can show you what the budget committee looks like. Oh, actually, here it is in intersect. Who are my intersectors here? Anybody? So this is the budget committee area, and it's here in this budget committee bit, and they've got updates area, working groups, and treasury management tool. They have a meeting every Monday. Emmanuel, go ahead. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
Roberto.
I haven't actually read through the proposal, but the 350 million ADA, is it also capping when there's a treasury withdrawal governance action, or is it only limited to intersect budgets? Maybe anyone have an idea? Anyone has?
That's a great question. Does it basically, is it just the total budget or just what uh or just or individual proposal
Yeah,
limits? To be honest, I don't think it's individual proposal limits. I think it's just the main thing. Are there individual limits? Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, okay. Yeah. We'll have to look into it. I'm not sure. Roberto.
I haven't been yeah, I haven't caught arguments in Twitter or whatever. Do they say why they need spending? Like I've heard people like, oh, because the markets are down, we need to increase spending, and Ethereum did this and whatever did that. But I haven't heard of any specific reason. Like we need spending on what? Because uh, I understand the argument about like the one that you read about it being controlled by a few entities and it's being like directed to certain areas. But just increasing spending or increasing the net change limit doesn't necessarily change that. It just means that the pool to grab funds
Yeah.
from
Yes.
is actually bigger. So I was wondering, like, yeah, absolutely, like a lot of projects need funding, but the way that funding is distributed right now seems to be the problem, not the quantity. I'm sure that a lot of projects in the ecosystem could do a lot with very little. The problem is that the projects that are being funded are like 70 million ADA to bring a stable coin to the ecosystem. I don't know if you've seen any change in the value of ADA lately, because I haven't. Not midnight, not anything. It's still like pretty bad. Like we're nearing 25 cents. And
Right.
according to
Right.
Charles's latest video, this clarity law or whatever it's called, it doesn't look good.
Mm.
So I don't know how this actually supports the ecosystem more than just making the plunder a little bit more appetizing for some people. So I was just wondering if there's any like actual arguments towards we need spending on this area and or we need to provide support for builders in the ecosystem or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if those arguments have been articulated at all.
Yeah. I would say, well, one, let's be clear. The current net change limit uh, is 350 million ADA, and this proposal is to lower the limit 50 million ADA. So it is like going more like, hey, let's not spend as much. Maybe because of price action, maybe because of this, like that we saw in some of those rationales of they feel that it's not transparent enough and that it's sort of like just seems like just the same few groups are getting funded and maybe not being accountable or transparent. And it does seem like some of your points talk to that, like the amount in the pool isn't such a big deal, but it's like, hey, how are we deciding? And I think that how we're deciding is through this proposal process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
Hey,
extremely
Jen.
complicated and time. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm curious. Okay, James, what do you got for us?
Just agreeing with Roberto, and one way I say it to myself is that I just think we had a chance to build bureaucracy from scratch, and so far the evidence is that we haven't built the right one. It's not yet effective. But so I mean, you can decide if you agree that that's a helpful lens, or you can think of your own lenses. But what I do with that question is say, okay, well, if that's the case, what would it look like to create a strategy to suggest something else? And the good news is that if we do start thinking strategically, there's some immediate things Gimbalabs can do, like participate in the voting and post our
Yeah,
comments. But then
yeah,
there's longer term work too, right? Like what alternatives do we want to propose? We have a strong enough group of people here who can make a plan, right? And move piece by piece through our vision of an alternative.
yes. I yeah, I yeah. This gets into that, and I think that's one of the things that we're practicing here with this governance thing about like bringing proposals and sort of setting, you know, uh, vision and how to distribute, how to set strategy in a big decentralized way. And we're doing it. The proposal thing is very ground up, and it seems like we're kind of managing that. But then on the opposite end of the spectrum, just like the larger entities, and that sort of very robust system of the a group of people getting together in a room and making decisions. Uh, yeah. Um, it's a non-trivial thing. But the beautiful thing is for the calls for lack of transparency and all this stuff, they do have open meetings and they do have they publish they have documentation and I think that they're trying to be transparent, and it one of the things that I recognize is it just takes so much effort. Like it's there, but you have to really work at it. It's not to see somebody's hand in his back. Oh no, that's James. Um, what do you think? Um, I I'm curious about it, and it does. If you go to let me share my screen again. If you go to the Discord, you'll see some of the folks that are interested in this. Um, uh, I saw that Q is there. Gintana is there. This music, see, that's Christina. Um, Tebo is on. Let me show you some of these other links. They do have um, on the Intersect website, they have some documentation. But we may be coming to the end of the time. Harsha, were you?
Yes, I mean we have passed the time, so yeah.
Oh my God, we're past the time. So we can start to wrap this up because we do want to time box this. I do think that governance discussions can take a long time, and it definitely needs to be sort of put into its spot. Um, does anyone have? Oh, okay. So the next action is when you have when you have like a thought on this, you can go into this our our platform and put in your rationale, and this will help us to vote on this. And the vote is coming up. Oh, it's today. It's today. So there you go. Okay, hey Roberto, we'll let you have a last word here.
I was just wondering if this app is open source or how you can contribute, because with the Andamio API, we could probably I was just thinking like this kind of deserves its own program. The time to discuss things like this seems extremely limited, even
Too short.
for
Yeah.
whatever. I was thinking when you were saying like the amount of work that goes into this, but it's always like the term flooding the zone is becoming very popular lately. And I think it's a little bit like that, which is it's impossible for any one person to be able to follow, like responsibly follow what's happening. So a governance program within Gimbalabs that, what we've discussed in previous meetings, really just someone taking responsibility, and that can be just anyone, to provide some
Yeah.
sort of summary of this is what's happening this week, and this is my this is a TLDR of what's going on, and then it makes
Yeah.
it easier for people to participate. And I was just thinking if the API, you could create tasks and assign rewards, whether that's Gimbals, sorry, or just like symbolic amount of ADA or something that tracks your participation in governance that could in the future be used as something, right? You're going to be proposed as a DREP within Gimbalabs for whatever. Well, do you have governance experience? Have you participated in governance? Have you done things to progress governance within Gimbalabs? And you can prove that with your token by saying, yeah, I completed all these tasks, and see my token. It has these experience points from contributions that I've actually completed to this kind of thing.
Yeah. That could be an interesting like mashup with Andamio and the whole contribution thing. Like a task system to establish a governance credential. Uh,
So those are tactical moves, and I think those are good ideas, right? Now try to imagine the strategy that we'd be grounding this in, right?
yeah.
Because there's an uncomfortable fact that we just have to own. It's that Gimbal Labs is a registered but inactive DREP.
Yeah.
And what we know from evidence is that just talking about this at open spaces hasn't yet moved any of us to
Yeah.
use the DREP platform that was built.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the only way to govern is by being honest about that. So
Yeah.
now think about the strategic lens. Look, we're failing at this. We know this is hard. We
Yeah.
built a thing to distribute the work, but we're not yet getting to the point of doing this. But wait a minute, Cardano as an ecosystem is experiencing the similar thing. It's been hard to motivate people to sufficient participation in governance. So now we have this small story over here, and it connects to a broader story. We have firsthand experience failing ourselves to deliver on this, but here's our strategy for moving beyond that. And anything we try here, if it does kick us into gear, then it's worth sharing more broadly. And that could get pretty exciting, right? And if the tactics that Roberto's naming, if they help towards those goals, great. But let's look through that lens. What's it going to take to start moving the needle on the kind of participation that I think we all kind of took for granted would happen,
Yeah.
right? But governance was launched into an ecosystem where people were already burnt out. And it's just
Yeah.
burnt us a little farther.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. Yeah.
now, cool, the infrastructure is really good, but what are we going to do to make sure that we're actually using it?
Yeah. And this is one of the great things about having a proposal page like these. Like the current situation is like low participation. We've built a tool, and then now we're sort of using this metaphor of building a governance culture, and that's sort of a harsher thing. That's a really well stated assessment, James, in my opinion. That and one of the things you said was that the action of governance leads to burnout. Uh, uh, and one of the things that we're doing as a tactical way is is just having this small time box, although it does want to like jump out of its box, where there's just a small thing about creating a presentation on one of the topics. Um, Roberto's suggestion, another tactical suggestion of like if they had a task. And I guess that's sort of what we're doing now. It's not too far off from what we're doing now. We're hoping that other community members will take a proposal and give us the TLDR. Just a quick. Sometimes it's difficult for me to be quick, but yeah. So that fits. But then I think that the beautiful thing is that yes, everybody is dealing with this. And it's, when money is involved, when budgets are involved, when the existential crisis are involved, then it really does get heated and it can get pretty, it's easy to get burnout. Roberto, you got another?
Just a really quick comment that the problem is that we're never going to have enough time here all together to discuss this. The reason for the reward or the incentive is that some of this needs to be homework, right? You need to take it with you and do it on your free time. So that definitely, if not deserves compensation, some sort of incentive. Doesn't necessarily have to be directly monetary, but at least a recognition of the fact that you're doing your citizen, your duty as a citizen.
Yeah. And that's sort of just to be transparent. This proposal I call it volunteer, but it's sort of there is an acknowledgement of 25 ADA per thing. So I guess I earned 25 ADA to do that extra homework. And it worked for me, meaning that now I know where at this Discord is, and I can see who's sort of there. It's if you wanted to know where Lloyd Duhan went, that's where he is. He's hosting a governance or a budget meeting each Monday. There's somebody else in here that you kind of understand some of the people, the people that are working in this by just scanning. Quasar's pretty focused in on this. I think it's this Thomas guy. But anyway, you get to know the things, you do the homework. And yes, this little bit, and Harsha was strict with me. He's like, spend 30 minutes. And it feels like I've spent 30 minutes just talking. It jumps out of its box. I don't know if that's because it's interesting or if it's just sort of hard to grab a hold of. But I'm happy. The budget hopefully will take care of itself. The net change limit it's sort of one of those things where it's not actually that big of a deal. It's sort of it seems like it should be a procedural thing. It's just like, this is how much, and it's an easy vote, but it seems like it's a proxy war, quote unquote, around like, hey, what is the budget process and who gets funded? What is that like? It's kind of like in the U.S. government, we have a government shutdown every little bit because that's a way to it's like a protest. It's just like we don't like what's being spent, so the one power that there are these net change limit things that they do year by year.
Let's not model the U.S. government, please.
Yeah. So we can take this as a negative.
But once again, this is why we have driver mapping, right? Is name the current situation. Oh, there's a lot of people who can't imagine anything other than the governments they already own or know, right? Okay.
Right.
Into that context, we have to acknowledge people need a chance to experiment with something else. Well, does the experiment we're doing here offer any novel thought? What is our offering to a conversation about something that we're not sure how to do?
Yeah, exactly. And that is, Harsha, who took the lead on writing this idea of a governance culture. Right now, our culture is dictating. And so it's like we have a real back and forth culture. Maybe it's, competitive, maybe it comes from somewhere. And until we practice another culture, um, that may sort of put blinders on to other ways of doing it. People can't imagine another governance model or culture. Um, so that is definitely this proposal that we're exercising right now. Like that's what this is focused on, and this has been good feedback. We can add those to our proposal driver, the current situation, what's on the screen now. Um, uh, there's low participation. The action and governance leads to burnout. And never having enough time, and people can't imagine another governance culture. So those are very practical things that we've added thanks to this discussion. Yeah, does that feel like we've done our thing? Okay, perfect. Yep, Harsh is giving me the thumbs up. So one of the things that organizations need are tooling. So we're going to move over to this. Basically, it's around um, this proposal, Notion Plus accounts for Gimbalabs contributors. I'll give you a bit of the situation. Is that each one of our Notion account holders, it's like $100 per year. That's not a tremendous amount, but as our treasury goes down, it becomes kind of a large amount. And the we've really only have a few contributors in Notion, um, yeah, at a time. Um, we can look down. I can say that there's like I don't really want to share the folks' emails that people signed up, but let's say there's like uh 12 Notion users right now. And I would say maybe four, a third are using it on a frequent basis. So we're going to explore what if we can move to a different platform. Um, One of the things that when we read the proposal driver um, was for this why we would use Notion um, is that the Andamio team was using it, kind of to align with other teams that we know. Does anybody, and here's the question where you guys can get involved. Does anyone is anyone involved with another team that uses Notion? For instance, I think Sedan Labs uses Notion. Anybody else?
Mesh still uses it.
Mesh and Sedan use okay. Where do I want to put some of these notes? Um, yeah, Mesh and Sedan. Okay. Is anyone like uh okay, so what as a part of the um as a part of this proposal, that we'd said that we would review the account holders. And I know that I talked to Emmanuel and Andrew, and they were okay with closing down their accounts and not using Notion. Does anybody else have a Notion account here that is okay with letting go of their edit status? Anybody else? I'm gonna stop sharing here for a second.
Yeah, if there's nobody using it, that's no problem. So if you have
Yeah. So
critical data there.
yeah. So like Lewis, is Lewis still about? No, Lewis isn't here. Um, like Ken Stanton and Lawrence Lay and Martin and Monique. Is Nelson around? No. Um, Steve Lockhart, SEO Mon. I'll have all have things. So what I was hoping to do today is talk about one well, there's a couple things. We could because I don't know what happens when we take somebody off of the account and like I think they still have public access. So I wonder if we could, James, if you would be willing to jump into the Notion board, take off somebody's account that's here, maybe Andrew or Emmanuel, and then we can see like what happens to their account. I did know just from my basic research that if you have private, um, here, if
And
you
that's
have,
exactly the case. Yeah, I mean, if there's nobody here to ask for something, I don't think we need to spend time demoing it. But everybody should be very clear. If you've been keeping private notes inside of your Gimbalabs Notion account, you'll want to migrate those before we shut it down.
yeah,
Okay. Does anybody need to see a demo of that? I don't think we even have enough usage to make that necessary. But
yeah.
if I'm wrong, let me know.
Well, I just wanted, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, we maybe don't have to do it here, but I would before we take everyone out, I just would like to see like, okay, what does it look like? For instance, I have some private notes,
Yeah.
um, and that's sort of my vision for what would happen is that we would just call out the the users that aren't using it. And I've sent out a note that basically asks, "Hey, are you still using the account?" I got some response back, but not a lot. Um, and then put into place the small team, and then go about migrating to other things. And the thing that I want to suggest, I want to ask, like, what other tool would you be interested in using? And I know that the Andamio team, who we can kind of key on, they're using no, GitHub. Is that right, Roberto James?
That is true. And we shouldn't ask what tool yet. We should ask,
Okay.
right, what
Yeah.
functionality
Yeah.
are we using Notion for? Because it does a
Right.
lot of things, and we're using a very small slice of it. So
Right.
rather than
Right.
spending 228 US dollars every month, what could we
Yeah.
do instead to get the exact functionality we have here? So how would people summarize how we use
Yeah.
Notion? We've seen Newman, and I have it right here on my screen, facilitating via the project board. This is pretty important. But what else?
Yeah. Okay. So we have all the proposals,
Mhm.
and I guess that goes with the project board.
Yeah, so let's summarize what this project board does, right? It enables us to make a new file. It has a template that guides you to write a proposal. When you
Yeah.
complete one of these, it turns into a proposal that can be tracked by status. It could be in the planning stage. It could
Yeah.
be ready for review. It could be approved and now in progress, or it could be done and it goes on our historical record.
Yeah.
Pretty good. We've built an app right here inside of Notion that, with the name projects, is really a governance workflow for
Yeah.
creating proposals, approving them, and then tracking their completion.
Yeah.
Besides that, do we use Notion for anything else? Or could it be that we could just build our own version of this now that we have 2 years of experience?
Yeah. Um, the project, the other one is like meeting notes. Um, the for instance, yeah, the meeting notes like
Where do I
this
find
one.
that?
Um, so each project has meetings sometimes.
Okay, so inside of a project,
Yeah.
like is Go doing this right now?
It's funny because we've sort of moved over to So am I still sharing the screen here? Am I still sharing my screen? I don't think so. Hold
I
on.
happen to be right now, but I don't need to.
Um, yeah. If you go to the Go Cardano Go course update in DNS CLI development, you'll see that we do have a we have the proposal in there. We also have like a task list,
Mhm.
which is like a project board. You have a database or spreadsheet
Yeah.
uh, in there.
So it's not sufficient to say that this is just our governance structure. We know that once we have a project that's in progress, and this is a very nice thing, this has always been one of the great selling points about Notion. Every
Yeah,
document can also have additional databases nested inside of it, and on and on and on, right?
right.
So this particular proposal, yes, it was approved in our projects process. And now that it is in progress, the team has been tracking tasks right here. All right, there's
Yeah,
another feature. So now we know that we need a way to export our project governance process, and we probably want to equip each other with tools that allow us to track tasks inside of a project once it's going,
okay.
right? What are some other requirements?
Mm, mm, mm. You know, I guess like a public, like you can share these links. So you can link to stuff from, like on a tweet, for instance. Um,
A public link to view this site, and I could share
yeah,
this link anywhere. And that's a way of exposing our internal governance work to anybody who wants to get a public view.
yeah,
All right, there's another feature. So now we want to build something that allows us to track projects through our governance process, allows us to, once a project is live, track tasks inside of it. And we want to have some form of a public view that allows us to share our work with the world.
yeah, yeah.
Now, when I say build something, I'm not necessarily saying just start up a new app. That's one option. But
Mm,
maybe it's just maybe there's a GitHub repo, and that's what you guys are already doing, right? You've
yeah,
been migrating this work to really just tracking it in real time as you do it over in GitHub. GitHub
yeah,
is one tool that could be used for building something. You don't have to start from scratch, but we could, right? And all of those questions of how we build would follow requirements gathering, which is what we're doing right now.
yeah. Um, so I don't know if it seems like it's a requirement, but it is easy. Like Notion, if even if you don't have an account, like you can go to the link and you can look at the board. So it's not a huge uh barrier. It's relatively like simple to for the user. Yeah, yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say. It's like beginner for it's user friendly, or it's I don't know if I would say that
It's
really.
user friendly, but it's taken away the decision making from us, right? We hit
Yeah,
a beautiful flow with this governance process where for anybody who's attended more than a couple of Gimbalabs sessions, you're pretty familiar with this process. And
yeah,
we've done some difficult, but we've watched each other get better at it. We can go back through the video archives and
yeah,
see how much more efficient we got with this process, right?
yeah,
We,
yeah,
we did something meaningful here. By the way, tie this back to the DREP conversation. We haven't hit that same level of flow with making DREP decisions.
yeah. That's right.
Well, is there a requirement we can add here, or is there a bridge between these two things? Here,
Mm,
we're talking about a success case with local governance. Here it is. There's evidence of it. We can look at what works. We know we want to be able to track projects after they're approved. And we also know that we want at least some of that to be toggleable into a public view, right?
Yeah.
Could what we're talking about just be incorporated into the DREP platform? Could we build these flows in so we have a local side where we practice our own work like we do on Notion, and then a public side that takes whatever magic we've established here and we try to accomplish the same thing with DREP decisions,
Right.
right? Now, side by side, we could have local decisions for these kinds of proposals and Cardano level decisions that we actually probably want to bring through the same process. If we had a quick mechanism like this for logging those decisions, right? Remember, what happens in a proposal? Well, when we present it to people, we have to give them the driver first. And then
Right.
that leads us to once we have set the context, now that leads us to a conversation about why to move ahead with it. What are the details? Could we get similarly efficient if we combined what works here with the need to log DREP decisions?
Right. Hmm.
All right, but
Yeah.
this number
I didn't
one,
thought yeah, that kind of took us somewhere. Okay,
we,
all
we
right.
need to we need to unblock ourselves, right? We have a week before this monthly bill comes again, and maybe we want to be ready to leave Notion by then. Now, there's a bunch of people who just haven't been to open spaces in a long time. If they've
Yeah.
been watching those recordings, that's great. But my opinion is that we don't owe anything to anybody who has one of these accounts, right?
Okay.
Their,
Okay.
their reward for getting one was the work they were participating in. If they're not around, we can make a good faith effort to put a
Yeah.
message on Discord, say, Notion is closing. You do the work of getting the info you need off of there. On our
Yeah.
side,
Yeah.
we got to take the parts that are valuable. We would never want to lose this history of projects, right? So we'll
Right.
export that. Great. Is there anything else that needs to be exported?
Okay, yeah. So like other like documents or content, um we like all the proposals, like, that's because it's so proposal based. Harsha and I have some sort of admin stuff. Like we have this sort of running document, um that's really just a shared document and a
And so
template.
just, Newman, just to keep it brief, right? So
Yeah.
your answer is yes, you have some documents.
Yeah. There are
So
documents. Yeah, there's
now
documents to export. It shouldn't
this
be too
this
difficult.
this is on all of us. Everybody who's here, you know who you are if you have a Notion account. If you have something besides projects that needs to be exported, make sure it happens.
Yeah.
Anybody
And that's
needs
the
help with that, just reach out for help.
Yep.
Is that
I'm
clear?
definitely
Okay.
everybody got that? So if you have something in Notion that would be tough if it went away, now is the time to export it. And it's a pretty simple process. It's just up in that right-hand corner and export, and it exports out a big zip file of all the stuff. Um,
And
you
Roberto,
can
I was just thinking that maybe I don't know. This doesn't fit the deadline to get out of Notion, but um, workshop like do next session could be a working session and spec out what this workflow looks like and what it means. That could be a really nice first step to later wire it up to your governance to the governance app. Like just figuring out
if
what's the
that's what
workflow, what
happens,
does it
right?
need
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to demo the spec gathering process, but I'm committed
exactly.
to nothing here. So if any of that spec gathering inspires anybody here to write a proposal for what we do or what we build next, that's
Yeah.
what we're here for. And if for a few weeks we have to work from just the raw export of this, that's okay, right? We know our goals, we know what works. And now, based on the goals first, Now we build something that helps us continue to achieve those goals. My goal is to make sure we don't lose this proposal governance process.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So that is a goal. So the goal would be to not lose the this process. Um, and any
Yeah, I'm
other,
happy to.
Joe?
One thing that we can do, and this will be kind of fun. We can do this. I don't think we have time in the next 18 minutes to do it. But we can just connect to the Notion MCP and pull this stuff down into nice markdown files that keep the history. And I'm
Okay.
happy to show people how to play around with that if we want to do an open session sometime.
Okay.
I saw Aomi's hand.
Yeah, I think you've answered the question I wanted to ask. Yeah, I wanted to ask, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask that all of this history, like all of this project that you've done in the past, like are you gonna leave it forever and things like that?
The history, like all the archive documents and things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a part of that sort of export. And it's interesting to think about it like a history of just like the archive documents, but also the history of this process that we built. I think that's what James is pointing to. Is like this is a valuable thing, and especially in the context of the DREP thing, like it's a valuable process and a govern. And then to think about Harsh's thing, like it is a culture. We have a culture of putting, it into this format. We'd hate to lose that. Um, yeah.
And yeah,
Um,
the archive is so important. We don't want to lose this. So I want to say this as clearly and as lovingly as I can. I take full responsibility. I'll do an initial export of projects and then ask for your approval. But personally, I'm not going to touch anything else in Gimbalabs Notion. My only priority is making
yeah,
sure we capture our history of projects and anything inside them, right? Like all of this. Great.
yeah,
But I'm not going to touch anything else. So if you have any other documents anywhere, if there's
yeah,
anything that matters to you individually, this goes for everyone, make sure you either archive it yourself or ask for help. If I
yeah,
know that
yeah,
there's something else here that's important to other people, I'm happy to spend time on it. But I'm not aware of anything other than this that needs to be archived.
Hey
right,
James,
right.
I have a small question here. So each of the proposals has like multiple internal pages and links and stuff that tracks like tasks and all of that. So when you archive these, would those like be automatically archived or would that be a separate process?
Yes, so they will be, and I'll ask everybody to vet that archive before we turn off Notion. So you'll have a
Yeah,
chance to look at the results of this work and to say if there's anything missing.
okay.
And again, happy to do that in a working session. Um, I know that
Yeah.
we're moving over to Go development. I think that's going to be a good working session too. But maybe we can just spend some time on this after that work is rolling.
And let's have a reaction round. I kind of want to hear from others, like with this whole idea. Like, we could do a fist of five, like how comfortable you are, or like type of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
like because I definitely want to get some feedback, and I want to hear like one, if you're like, oh yeah, Notion has never been a friend of mine, or oh, I know exactly I need to go and export this, or I've got some pages in there that need to happen. And then the third thing would be like if you've got, yeah, yeah, like just your general feeling, like your gut feeling. It's just like, oh, it feels cool, or I'm a little bit like, ooh, I wish this wasn't happening. So James, Harsha, it feels like that's a good spot to do a little bit of a round.
I actually completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And
Okay,
just I'm
cool.
looking at the time. We have 13 minutes left in this session.
Yeah, so quick round. Just a little reaction, still a little bit of time. How about I feel good about it. I'm gonna go on the top. Actually, let's go from the bottom. Sebastian and then Roberto. How are you any reaction to moving from Notion and what we've heard today about
I agree with the with uh, not opposed, not opposed. I'm
yeah.
agree with what it's thinking about. It's been thinking about the Notion use. I put
Okay.
in the I put in the chat about the importance of the information that has been compiled over these years as a
Yeah.
knowledge base to create some kind of learnings for the future.
Yeah.
But in general terms, I'm not opposed to it. I agree.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Yep. Thank you, Sebastian. Roberto, and then OJ.
No objections.
Yeah. Cool. OJ and then Emmanuel. If you're listening, you can we'll give you a little bit of time to come off of mute. And I give you the count.
Can I go after Emmanuel, please?
Oh, sure.
I'm in transit.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Thanks, man. Go ahead, Emmanuel, and then OJ.
Yeah, you know, I came to Gimbalabs meet. I already took it. So I guess right now Gimbalabs is graduating from Notion to I guess it will be a better platform. Yeah, no objection. Whatever direction, let's go.
Nice. I like it. All right, OJ.
Good day, everyone. I've actually not really been in the meeting because I've been in transit all along. But I have no objection to Gimba Labs transitioning from Notion, but I didn't get why they are leaving Motion. I don't know if anybody can like enlighten me a little bit, but I have no objection actually.
Cool. Yeah, and that's a good question to ask. We'll address it in a bit after the round. Aomi, any objections to or any reactions to what you've got, what you heard today about Notion?
Yeah, I do not have any objection. I see reasons with James, like based on what he said for the transition. So yeah, it makes sense. No objection.
Nice. Andrew, and then Ahmed.
Yeah, no objections from me. Be nice if we could save some of the history on there. Although I'd say maybe our YouTube videos are actually more valuable, but yeah, I don't think that cost is justifiable. Be great if we could find some of the open source options. GitHub, I think, works perfectly.
Yep.
Objections from me.
Perfect. Ahmed, then Jethro.
Yeah, no objections from me as well. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, man. And Jethro, and then Abiodun.
Yeah, no objection on my end as well.
Okay, cool. Abiodun and Adrian.
I don't have any objection to that.
Cool. Thanks. I would, yeah, yep. Thanks so much. Adrian, then James.
No objections.
Yeah. James.
Nope. No
Sure.
objections.
Yeah. Harsha, you're feeling it?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. Yeah, it's just a little change in how we use the new whatever comes next, how we use it and how we use it. And so it's basically a change for us, whoever is doing like
Yeah.
the open spaces. Yeah. But yeah, I have no
Yeah,
objections.
exactly. Yeah, and I also don't have any objections. I think it would be great to be more, yeah, I think it gives us an opportunity to sort of look at and do the sort of sense making and spec. So it's like, okay, how are we using it? how, what are the things that are going to be hard to replace, and what are the things that we will gain from some type of new tooling. But I also heard it expressed, the like not wanting to lose any of the things. Like we'll gain some stuff, and but we want to make sure that we're holding on to the things that really are good and beneficial and effective. Um, yeah, and a bit of a celebration for what we did. Like that's the Notion page as it is. I definitely grew to not hate it. um, it still bums me out. But I'm curious to see, and I am a solutioner. Like I jump to the solution. So, but right now we can just sort of figure out how we're using it and what we can take from it as far as the export, and then figure out what what happens. But I do think that the first step is clearing out the existing users that aren't using it. And James, or do you feel like we could close it completely down by our deadline of the next membership? Because that's like timeline is a sort of what to get to.
It would be great not to spend north of 900 ADA next week.
Well, I'm just thinking maybe if it was just like one or two account holders, so that we can go. But it maybe the process is just export, and then we can just go through it there. Is that what you're thinking?
Imagine this like you're moving out of a house and you're cleaning out the attic, right? And there's a lot of stuff that you really don't want to have to move next time you move.
Yeah.
We serve ourselves better by just moving away from this and having one support.
The Band-Aid off. I think I think that we could do, Harsha and I could do what we're doing, at least in the interim, with HackMD or some shared document, and then some repo of where the projects reside. And it could be a benefit, meaning that it could be that the project managers themselves sort of take on a little more responsibility of the documentation. Maybe they start using all the different tools that are out there. For instance, I talked about Eleventy in my check-in. Eleventy is a web framework. It makes it pretty easy. Or they start doing React, Next.js T3 stack stuff, depending on who is there. It might give us a more vibrant, Reef ecosystem, which would be a benefit in my mind. Yeah. How's that feel?
Yeah, that feels good. I think there's a lot of options as long as we start with why, right?
Yes, exactly.
There's an infinite number of tools, but let's really try to clarify like what is the thing that worked here.
And that's the benefit, is it's like really taking that time to reflect, and it's just like, what are we doing? And then you can see things open up. For instance, and I think, that's a great point. All right. Let's start our goodbyes. I think we're in the goodbye section of the meeting now. Thanks everybody for attending. Any final thoughts, final words?
It feels good to have we talked about this as a working session, and I think this is also another thing we should keep exploring, right? Like how can we do real, and I say development, I don't mean writing code necessarily, right?
Yeah.
How can we develop out what's working here and develop better systems for things like making governance decisions?
It's funny because I do remember those few years ago when we had the Miro board, and we did it like an unspace where just people had like they were working on their projects, and they said, "Hey, I need people to work with me on this." And we would then we would vote. We would say like, "Okay, this is what I want to work on," and we kind of we do breakout rooms sometimes. Those were fun. Those are fun times. Like if you're looking for opportunity, you get somebody like Martin that would come in and say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to work." It's basically like little mini live codings. where people would just get in and they would stream and they would talk and sort of hack on stuff.